I'm used to being last with the name Zenker. I learned something from my good friend Tony Conaway. Tony always brings multiple stories with him. He doesn't plan to read one story. He waits to figure out the audience. So given all the great stories that came before, I'm dumping the story that I was going to read. And I'm going to read something a little bit different. This is called Femme Fatale. But what if they catch us? My throat was dry and trembled as I spoke the words. "We won't get caught," the face replied, big blue eyes staring back intensely. Her tiny pearl teeth were perfectly white when she smiled. Her tight red curls and freckles gave her the innocent little girl look. That made her all the more dangerous. And all the more attractive. Like moth to a flame, I was drawn to her brilliance. "We're smarter than they are," she said. "Besides, what would be worse than what we have now?" She was right, of course. Our lives were already restricted, every movement and every moment pre-prescribed. Whenever I left the house, throughout the day, when I went to see friends, our meetings only worked through the convenience of being in the same place at the same time every day. Our rendezvous hidden in plain sight of a group. I carefully glanced around. The others were occupied with their tasks and didn't seem to pay attention. For the moment, it was just me and the face. She slid closer and whispered in my ear, "You and me, together. We can have what we want. You just have to distract her." Distracting her. Not an easy thing. I couldn't remember a time without her controlling everything. She was like a helicopter, forever hovering. At first, the attention was reassuring, comforting. Then it became smothering. But this new girl, the face, she made me feel ways I'd never felt before. Sneaky, daring, alive. I was in, no matter what the risk. "Okay, how do we do this?" I asked. "I don't want to tell you what to do, but since you're asking." I listened as she quietly laid out the plan. It was a good one. And most of all, at the end, she and I would share it all, together. I nodded, then smiled. "I could do this." "It all depends on you, Sam. How badly do you want it?" She cocked her head slightly. Those white pearls biting down on her blood-red bottom lip made me hungry. "I'll do it, tonight." My heart beat faster than an express train at full speed. "I knew you could. I'll see you tomorrow." She smiled that smile and walked towards the door alone. I was committed. Me, her, tomorrow. Back home, I played my time as I always did, with one exception. After dinner, I discreetly grabbed a small brown paper bag, then carefully dropped the objects into it. I quietly crossed the room and stuffed the bag into the sleeve of my jacket. Tomorrow, I would carry the jacket on my lap, no matter how cold it was. It was okay. The face's smile would keep me warm. I arrived at my desk at 7:30 a.m. She was already seated in hers, working furiously. I noisily pulled out my chair and plopped into my seat. She was the only one who didn't look up. So I brushed my arm across my desk, knocking a book to the floor with a thud. She looked in my direction from the desk across the room, then back down at her work. As I bent to retrieve the book, I found a folded piece of paper with my name on the outside. "Meet me after," was all the note said. No signature was needed. I knew it was from her and what she meant. The end of the day, outside the building, out back, the place and time where she and I often stole a moment for ourselves. For the remainder of the day, I busied myself in mathematical equations, but other numbers kept bouncing in my head. 2 people, 1 special moment, 15 minutes together. 4 hours until the end of the day. Finally, the day was over and I made my way out back. She was there in a pretty red and white polka dot dress and black flats. The light shone from behind, making my angel seem to glow. I handed over the brown paper bag. She peered inside and smiled. "See? I told you." Then a shrill sound ripped the smiles from our faces. "Samuel?" the voice called. "Samuel?" called the voice I hoped not to hear. The face looked at me. We were made. "Sammy, I've been looking for you. Where have you been?" Then the voice saw the face. "Oh." Her smile widened, but eyes squinted at the same time. She licked her teeth with the edge of her tongue. "Who have we here?" With an emphasis that was both sickly sweet and accusatory. "Oh, that's nice. I see you have a little girlfriend." Complete silence. The voice bent over and looked the face in the eyes. "Hi, I'm Sammy's mommy." Who are you? Gretchen was all she'd give up. I don't think I know you, Gretchen, or your parents. Are you in Sammy's class? Yes, she stayed tight-lipped, revealing nothing more. That's my gal, nerves of steel. So I guess you're 7 also. You do have good taste in clothing. Then standing back up, the voice spoke again. Well, I'm sure that her mommy or the bus that takes her home will be fine for her. We need to go now. And the voice grabbed at my hand. I tried to pull away, but she pulled me to her faster pace, walking toward the car. I looked back. The face had already sashayed over to Josh, our oversized class bully. She reached in the brown bag, pulled the big cookie, my big cookie, and handed out to him. Another reach produced one for her. They ate them together and laughed. Then the face tossed the bag on the floor and smashed it under her shiny patent leather shoe before climbing the stairs into the bus with him. My stomach rumbled sadly. I turned back and we were at the car. The voice broke the silence. And young man, you and your father will have a discussion about taking things that are meant for others, like the special cookies meant for the church sale. Dames, they're nothing but trouble.